Hello everyone. In the live lecture last week we discussed how Bayesian inference interprets data. We have a prior distribution attached with the unknown parameter involved in the data. Then we have certain modeling assumptions regarding the data and we use both these things to get the updated distribution of the unknown parameter. So in short, Bayesian inference procedure can be summarized like this. So suppose fx given theta is the distribution which represents modeling assumptions associated with the observable random variable x whose probability distribution involves an unknown parameter theta. So suppose that this fx given theta is the probability distribution of x when the random variable theta takes this particular value. And suppose pi theta is the distribution of theta obtained or decided by using prior information associated with theta. So once the data is available, data means you have data on x is available, it gets updated to pi theta given x where x represents the data. So this pi theta given x we call as the posterior distribution of theta. Now to get the posterior distribution we need the marginal distribution of x alone, so which can be obtained by using the joint distribution of x and theta like this. So integrate out theta from the joint distribution of x and theta and you get the distribution of x alone. So this represents the prior information we have about the distribution of x before getting the data. The word getting is missing from here. So this fx is called as prior predictive distribution of x. Now suppose we had got only one data point or a set of data. So the entire data is represented by this variable x here. So we have prior distribution for theta, pi theta, then we have fx given theta, then we get joint distribution of x and theta, then we get marginal distribution of x, and then ultimately we get posterior distribution of theta, which is pi theta given x. So this is the end. Now suppose we have further information that the experiment which generated x is going to be repeated again and another data point is going to be available soon. So suppose this data point is represented by y. So the distribution of y given theta is same as the distribution of x given theta. So the modeling assumption regarding the observable random variable has not changed. So suppose fy given theta is the distribution of y given theta. But now because the distribution of theta has got updated to pi theta given x, so at the time of observing y, the prior information regarding theta is not same as the prior information which was available at the time of observing x. Since x was the first set of data, whatever historical information was available till that time point was utilized to construct pi theta, and then after getting x we updated the distribution of theta to pi theta given x. So the prior distribution has already got updated to the posterior distribution based on the information which we have got on x. Now we are going to observe y. So clearly we feel that we should not use pi theta as the prior distribution of theta now, because we are going to soon observe another data point. Instead, the prior distribution of theta should be pi theta given x, because the information which we get here regarding the distribution of theta is not same as the information which we are getting through pi theta. If we use pi theta again here for getting the distribution, joint distribution of y and theta, if we use pi theta again, then it will be as if we are ignoring the information about theta which we have got through x, the earlier data point. Bayesian inference never discards the information got from the earlier data. Instead, it updates the distributions from prior to posterior, and the posterior then becomes prior for the next set of data. So this is how the Bayesian inference works. So the joint distribution of y and theta now will be f y given theta into pi theta given x. So if you expand it, it will look like this. So notice that the joint distribution of y and theta does depend on pi theta, but like this. So the marginal distribution of y then will be, now integrate out theta from this joint distribution of y and theta to get the marginal distribution of y. So clearly this is not same as the marginal distribution of x. In fact, the probabilities would have changed. So this distribution is called as posterior predictive distribution. So let us see an example in order to understand this better. So suppose we are dealing with Poisson random variables having mean theta. So the distribution of x1, x2, xn given theta will be like this. E raised to minus n theta, theta raised to summation xi upon product of xi factorial, where xi's will be from 0, 1, 2 onwards. Now suppose we have no prior information about theta. No historical information is available, and still we plan to implement Bayesian inference. So in such cases, a constant prior or a flat prior can be used. So what do we mean by a constant prior? So suppose no particular value of theta is more likely than the rest of the values of theta. So here theta's range is the open interval 0 to infinity. So we are treating all values to be equally likely. Hence pi theta will be simply a constant c. Now you may feel, you must be having an impression that this is not a proper PDF. So how can it be used? So such a prior distribution is called as improper prior, because this will not integrate to 1. We have not specified the constant. We are just assuming that it is a known constant. So c can be 1, c can be 2, c can be any constant, any positive constant. Since pi theta has to be a PDF, so this c must be positive. But pi theta need not be a proper probability density function, in the sense its integration need not be 1. Its integration might be less than 1. So even in that case, we end up getting a proper posterior distribution. So why does it happen? How does it happen? Let us learn through this example. Since the prior PDF is a constant, it is also called as flat prior. So why flat? Because if you plot this, the prior PDF will look like a flat PDF, and so we call it as a flat prior. So now the joint distribution of x and theta will be then e raised to minus n theta, theta raised to summation xi upon product of xi factorial multiplied by this prior PDF, which is simply c. So let us find the marginal distribution of x, which is nothing but the prior predictive distribution of the observable data. So this is, you will integrate this with respect to theta. So integration of e raised to minus n theta, theta raised to summation xi will be simply gamma of summation xi plus 1 upon n raised to summation xi plus 1. Summation xi can also be written as n times x bar. So the prior predictive distribution comes out to be c upon product of xi factorial into this gamma of n times x bar plus 1 upon n raised to n x bar plus 1. So the posterior distribution of theta is pi theta given x, which is the joint distribution of x and theta upon the marginal distribution of x. So notice that this is a gamma PDF with parameters n and summation xi plus 1. So summation xi plus 1 is n x bar plus 1. So even though we started with a improper distribution as a prior distribution of theta, we get a proper PDF as a posterior distribution of theta. So now consider another prior for the same setup. So now we are having another prior distribution, say gamma with parameters alpha and lambda. Here these parameters alpha and lambda are called as hyperparameters, in the sense they are prior parameters involved in the prior distribution of the unknown parameter. So parameters of the prior distribution of a parameter are called as hyperparameters. So here alpha and lambda are hyperparameters. Moreover, we are assuming these alpha and lambda to be known constants. So alpha raised to lambda by gamma lambda e raised to minus alpha theta, theta raised to lambda minus 1. This is the prior distribution of theta. So if we repeat the story, means if we repeat the procedure which we had used earlier, we get this as the joint distribution of x and theta. Now try to implement, before getting the posterior distribution, try to guess what is going to be the posterior distribution. As I had mentioned in the live Zoom lecture last week, posterior distribution is always proportional to the joint distribution. So joint distribution of the data and the parameter. So the joint distribution of the observable random variable, that is x and theta. So if you look at this carefully, you will find two terms which contain the parameter theta. The first term is e raised to minus n plus alpha times theta, and the second term is theta raised to n x bar plus lambda minus 1. So if you treat px theta, the joint distribution, as simply a function of theta, then these terms alpha raised to lambda by gamma lambda, product of xi factorial, all these are constants, in the sense they do not contain theta. So if you look at the terms containing theta carefully, you will realize that they are part of a gamma distribution, gamma density function with parameters n plus alpha and n x bar plus lambda. So you can easily guess, you can easily conclude that the posterior distribution of theta is going to be gamma with parameters n plus alpha and n x bar plus lambda. So let us see if we actually get it. So let us find the marginal distribution of x. So the marginal distribution of x comes out to be alpha raised to lambda, gamma of nx bar plus lambda upon n plus alpha raised to nx bar plus lambda, and finally 1 upon product of xi factorial. So looks quite complicated, really difficult to interpret. So if we use this, we get finally the posterior distribution of theta as gamma with parameters n plus alpha and nx bar plus lambda. So thus, if we start with gamma distribution as a prior distribution for theta, we end up getting gamma, again another gamma distribution as posterior distribution of theta. So there are two remarks. In the first case, we assumed an improper prior distribution for theta, but we got a proper distribution as posterior distribution of theta. So this why? I think you should think about this. I'll reveal solution in the live lecture, Zoom lecture, which we are going to have tomorrow. But till then, I think you should think about why, even if we start with a improper prior distribution for theta, why do we end up getting a proper distribution as posterior distribution of theta? Now the second remark would be that if I start with a gamma distribution as prior distribution of theta, I end up getting another gamma as the posterior distribution of theta. So why this happens? So this I would like to explain you. So for this, let us go back a couple of pages. Have a look at the distribution of xi's. It's a Poisson PMF. So product of Poisson PMF. So e raised to minus n theta, theta raised to summation xi upon product of xi factorial. Now look at this as a function of theta. Look at it carefully. What do you notice? You will notice that there are two terms containing theta. The first term is e raised to minus n theta, and the second term is theta raised to summation xi. So notice that when you obtain posterior distribution of theta, these xi's are already observed. So this term summation xi becomes just a constant. So if you treat these terms, two terms, as a function of theta, you will realize that they form, actually these two terms look like the terms belonging to the gamma probability density function. And so if I start with a gamma prior, I'll get a gamma posterior because the Poisson distribution itself contains terms which look like terms belonging to the gamma probability density function. So what happens here is that if I start with these terms, if I start with a gamma PDF, I get terms like e raised to minus something, e raised to minus theta into something, and theta raised to some other term. So this e raised to minus theta into the first parameter that merges with this term, and theta raised to whatever parameter you have that merges with these terms. So the form, this gamma form, gets retained when you have the joint distribution. So this is what we had here. See here. So this came, the first term, e raised to minus n theta, theta raised to summation xi upon product of xi factorial. This term is coming because of the Poisson nature of xi's, and this term alpha raised to lambda by gamma lambda, ignore this alpha raised to lambda by gamma lambda, but the term e raised to minus alpha theta, theta raised to lambda minus 1, this is coming because we are assuming gamma distribution. So notice that these two terms and these two terms, they can be merged together so that we do not change the functional form of the density function. So the functional form such as e raised to minus the random variable into the parameter, and the second term is theta raised to the parameter minus 1. So this form of gamma PDF is retained if we start with gamma distribution as a prior distribution for theta, and so we end up getting gamma distribution as the posterior distribution of theta. So such a prior distribution where the prior distribution and posterior distribution belong to the same family of distributions is called as conjugate prior. So there are several types of prior distributions. Proper prior, improper prior is just a crude way, but informative prior, non-informative prior, then conjugate prior, then uh, Dirichlet prior, means so many priors are there. So the kind of prior and how to choose prior distributions, etc., that we will be discussing in the coming lectures. So but I hope you have understood why we got this gamma distribution as a posterior distribution of theta. So now I have tried to explain the first remark here. I would suggest you go through this and try to understand what I have tried to convey here.